was since the second half, really, how much they've really struggled. Charged with finding some stability from this guy.
This episode of The Journey of a Grassroots Rugby Coach is brought to you by Bull & Bear Crew. Bull & Bear Crew is a range of men's skincare products. There is face moisturizers, face mist, body wash, beard wash, shave oil, and moisturizer. They come in a 100ml pack, aluminium bottles, so they're safe for traveling. You can use them check-in your baggage. They also come in larger at-home bottles. All bottles are refillable, reusable, and recyclable. You can buy refill pouches to refill bottles you have at home if you don't want to purchase bottles from Bull & Bear Crew. They've just been released. A great product, all natural, or vegan, tested on men, not on animals, all that good stuff. Recyclable, reusable, and refillable, so you can use them over and over and over again. Go to their website, check them out, www.bullandbearcrew.com. Place your order. At the moment, they're only shipping within Australia, but keep your ears and your eyes out to the website. They may be able to extend the shipping at some point in the future. Please enjoy this episode.
Well, I've got off the field and then on the field learnings.
Yep.
Off the field, like, talk to every single person that you can, and message, like what I've done this summer since being back from uni. I just message every single person I could on LinkedIn, just asking for Zoom calls, phone calls, just for their experiences. What can I do? And that's got me into Healing Trailfinders Academy pathway, just chatting to loads of different people, and give me loads of different opportunities. But yeah, chat to as many people as you can. Go to different environments.
He can't find it. That's a mighty shot. A mighty Mark Lester.
Yeah. All right, mate. Well, let's make a start so you can turn in for the night. All right, Tom. So thanks for joining me. Just for the listeners that may not know who you are you? Whereabouts are you at the moment? And what's your involvement with the grassroots game?
Right, so I'm Tom Coolin. I've just graduated from University of South Wales, studying rugby coaching and performance. And I'm currently in a job at 7 School as a sports grad. So that's just helping out in the PE department, doing all the crappy jobs, but then also have quite a bit of a fun time because there's a lot of rugby in the first term. And I've got the under 15As as my team to run, which is pretty good fun. Not amazing rugby players, but great boys to coach and really coachable. So I enjoy that, and they want to learn. And I prefer to have boys who aren't great rugby players but want to be coached and want to learn more, rather than great rugby players who are just really annoying to coach and don't want to learn and know they're good and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's also a bit of a challenge because obviously, ability-wise, you gotta get them to have fun as well as winning games within school rugby. But yes, I'm really enjoying that at the moment. Where I am, I'm in based in Kent, so just southeast of London. Lived here all my life, apart from those 3 years I was in Wales for uni. Live with my parents at the moment. I'm only 21. Obviously just come back from uni, bit of a struggle, especially this current climate. But yeah, no, what else? I went to King's School, Canterbury, since from year 9 to year 13, so for 5 years for secondary school. That's really where I decided I wanted to have rugby in my career. Mainly my under 16s when I was an under 16. Yeah, got made captain for my rugby team. Almost got an unbeaten season, but we got beaten in the last game. Still remember that because it was quite annoying. I got injured within 10 minutes, and I felt like Cristiano Ronaldo when he got injured in the Euros on the final, and he was on the sideline screaming at all of his teammates, and I was doing the exact same thing. I think that's where my coaching journey sort of started. If you get what I mean, it's just
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. But yeah, so that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, no, that's good, mate. So you're relatively new in the coaching space,
Yeah.
and that's awesome as well. So, have you had any disappointments, or in the coaching space, that you've been able to look back on and take some learnings out of?
Not really disappointments. Obviously, there's been a couple of jobs I've applied for I haven't got, but there's not been many disappointments. There's been tough decisions. So at the moment with my current club, I'm head of the academy at Park House Rugby Club, which is in Bromley for people who live in England who know what that is. And I've been approached by another club. I'm not going to say what it is. People who know me know what it is, but I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, no problem with
reason.
that, mate.
But, yeah, been approached by another rugby club to be their head of academy. And it's a very respectable club, and it will look great on the CV. And there's loads of pros and cons, but I've got this word in my head which I'm kind of annoyed about at the moment. It's called loyalty, and I just can't get it out of my head. And I absolutely love the club that I'm at the moment, and I couldn't imagine if I leave it at this stage. Because we're only 2-3 months into the season, and we've had a tough time at the current club. We're in a rebuilding phase. And it's a massive theme over the whole of England. The under 18s this year, we just don't have enough of them because of COVID. They like current under 18 boys, they've lost 2-3 years of proper playing. So this year's been really hard in recruitment. So we've got the least amount of under 18 boys throughout the whole country, which has been super hard for me, especially coming into this world of rugby coaching. Very tricky, but I've been doing my best really. Just reaching out to local schools and putting on different events, trying different things, taking my experiences from Wales when I was playing at a club over there, trying to bring it over to England to the club that we've got. But yeah, so it's not really a disappointment or heartbreak. Don't really want to disappoint anyone else at my current club by leaving.
Yeah.
I think anyone else, if they had that decision, they would do it straight away. But because it's me and I'm a bit stupid sometimes, and I do like the loyalty, and I do respect my club too much. I reckon is what I've been told by one person. I respect him too much, which is pretty weird. But I don't know, bit of a tricky situation, especially as a young club. But
yeah, it's a really tricky situation to be in, especially like in the start of your journey. With you, do you concentrate? And had a discussion with a coach about this just the other day. Do you concentrate all your efforts on where you are now, or do we get too focused on what's next? And then we're not giving the best to the players we've got. And
exactly.
And there's some of the challenges that we face as coaches, like you said, around that, especially if it's a club that you've been involved with for quite a number of years. It's difficult. I know coaches that have been at clubs for 10, 15 years or more, like player, coach, and then when they've got to move on, it's really difficult for them to.
Well, to be fair, with my situation, I've only been at my club for 5 months, I think.
Yeah.
And they've made me love them, which is fair play to them. And as I said, we're in a rebuilding phase, and the club that want me, which is quite nice to be fair, being wanted by a good club. The club that want me, they've had their age grade boys stay, and they've got an amazing situation over there. So yeah, as I said earlier, anyone anyone who wouldn't take it would be a bit stupid, but that's me.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
sometimes things happen for a reason as well.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, difficult situation to be in. So in that short time that you have been coaching, what's some of the lessons that you've learned? Especially,
Um,
and it's really good because we've like with yourself being in that new coaching space, you're probably learning lessons different than the stuff that
oh yeah.
that older coaches learned many years ago and have probably forgotten about them. To be fair,
Mm,
but there's so much to learn in that first couple of years.
yeah. Well, I've got off the field and then on the field
Yep,
learnings.
yep,
Off the field, like talk to every single person that you can and message like what I've done this summer since being back from uni. I just message every single person I could on LinkedIn, just asking for Zoom calls, phone calls, just for their experiences. What can I do? And that's got me into Ealing Trailfinders Academy pathway. Just chatting to loads of different people, and give me loads of different opportunities. Um, I got Rob Baxter's email, ex of Chiefs DOR, which is pretty cool. Chatting to people down at Crusaders. Um, and I've been with Sarri for a while, so we're chatting to different people over there. Um, but yeah, chat to as many people as you can. Go to different environments. Last night I was at Brunel University, which is Ealing Trailfinders Academy.
yep.
Um, so that's I got there through messaging people on LinkedIn, different contacts that they have, and that was really great. Just being involved in that like amazing environment. Because when I was at uni, we played their first team at their ground at Brunel and got absolutely smashed. Luckily, I wasn't playing. I was on the sideline, but seeing my mates getting absolutely smashed up by these massive Ealing Trailfinders Academy boys, it's something that I wanted to be involved in. Um, and it was great to be at a training session last night with them. Had a good chat with Paddy Gill, the head of the academy. Um, he's a great bloke, to be fair, very funny. And then going to be more involved with them soon, which is quite good. Um, so yeah, chat to as many people as you can. Then on the field, it's just experiencing everything. Always make sure that you're with someone who you can learn off. Um, Make sure there's someone better than you on the pitch. It might not be better overall, but better in a certain aspect. So I'm a forwards man, so make sure you have a backs coach there you can learn off. Um, Ultimately, you want someone who's at the top of their game you can learn off. But if there's only little aspects, that will help you so much. Um, so I'm still looking for a really good backs coach to have my under 18s. We've got some decent guys at the club, but we've not got any like proper professional, amazing sort of backs coach that I can learn off well. Still learning off a couple of people at the club. But yeah, um, don't be shy. Just get on it straight away. Um, don't dilly dally about. Make sure that you're getting out there. Just go to your local club. Just observe to start off with. Once you get more confident, talk to the coaches. Um, Ask to be involved. And you're never going to get a paid job straight away. 100%, especially in rugby. So you got to put that time and effort into it, and you won't get rewarded straight away. Um, but eventually it will come. That's what I've learned recently. It will definitely come. Um, and I've experienced my first little reward with my boys under 18s. We've been rebuilding for so long. Had our first match a couple of weeks ago. We lost, but it was an amazing performance. And I was so proud. I got quite emotional towards the end, seeing how much effort I put in, and then seeing the boys actually doing so well with it, and I loved it. And yeah, it was great. So it will come. Trust the process, 100%.
Yeah, and there's some good points in there, mate. Like you said, learn off other coaches. And I remember I listened to Wayne Smith, like the guru of coaching, and he
Yeah,
said, "I know nothing about what goes on in the scrum." He said, "I know enough, but I get
yeah,
guys. I've got guys for that,
yeah,
and I watch what they do, and I know a little bit, but not as much as that next guy." And you just think, well, if that guy can say that, you just go, "We're doing all right."
yeah,
Yeah, up until a couple of years ago, I didn't even know what a fullback did.
yeah.
You know,
I'm still learning.
I've always had my head in the front row, so it's sort of what the back three did. I had no idea, but I'm slowly learning because I've got I work with some really good backs coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other one, like just ask people, talk to people,
Oh, 100%.
connect, watch other people, run a session, ask them, not what they're doing or why they're doing it, but what are they trying to get out of that session.
Yeah.
And I think that's really good to do. And I think a lot of young coaches and coaches starting out, they feel intimidated around that in that space. About if I go and ask this guy this, he's going to think I'm a dickhead, and But all the coaches that I've spoken to are all like, yeah, man, come along and
Yeah.
have a chat and even if you're and we spoke off air, even if you're wrong or you don't agree, that's okay.
Oh,
But
100%. Yeah.
it creates a conversation and stuff like that. So that's some really good advice, mate, especially for really new coaches. I find I like watching like under eights coaches and under tens coaches, just the way they manage like those kids, like herding the cats, as I call it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we call them pump up games or vibe games, like just to bring everybody up.
Yeah.
And all that stuff is straight from the under eights.
Yeah.
Just those
Oh, yeah.
stupid games that you play, and
So I was at Sarah's community camp today, and that goes from under sevens up to under 15s. And I still use like little circle games with my under 18s that I use with under sevens and stuff.
Yeah.
And under sevens love it, and under 18s love it. They might find it a bit stupid at first, but once they realise like what it's actually doing, then they get to love it, and it is great. And some people still use adults and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they love it because it's a game and it's a contest, and I've got someone I can beat, and they just never underestimate a good under eights game. So, what do you? And I'm going to preface this with I don't know how the academy structure works over there.
Yeah.
Do you have, or even at club level, or even at, like you said, at the school level, you've got a kid that might be his first year of rugby, he's never played before, but he's turned up because all his mates play, and he's that kid that can't catch a cold in the middle of winter, or he's there because his best mate plays, and his best mate, you can tell this kid's on a trajectory to go somewhere. What do you do in your sessions to develop both kids? Because you've got to keep the new kid interested and keen, especially at schoolboy level. And we find over here at club level, because that kid's probably going to go on and be the club president or the major sponsor, or that he's just that person that or the guy that marks the lines and fills the water bottles and does all that stuff. While progressing the guy that's on that elite pathway.
How old are you thinking?
Oh, mate. Obviously, at the point where they're sort of trying to look at probably under 12 level up.
Okay, yeah.
Because anything but below under 12s, in my theory, is about fun and teaching them the right techniques and stuff. So it's sort of under 12s and up.
Okay. quite a tricky question. That so you've basically got like a Jonah Lomu, then an Austin Healy kind of sort of situation here.
Oh, potentially, yeah.
Yeah. Austin Healy obviously being the person who can't catch a cold. No disrespect to him, obviously, but yeah. No, so you want them working together as much as possible, I think, to kind of show, to kind of assist both of them in different ways. So the better player, they can gain more confidence in themselves if they're kind of helping coach the player who doesn't have as much ability. So that'll give them a lot more confidence. If they know they're better than someone, then the overall confidence throughout the whole game will go up. For example, a couple of my under-18s boys train with the seniors every now and then, playing against these big men, obviously not contact, but like training with them. And then when they get into an under-18s game, they feel so much more confident because they've been playing against proper men twice their size, then they're going against under-18s who are their size and the same age, and it will just help a lot. Have that confidence and them knowing that they can handle it. So with this better and worse player situation, as I said, get them training together. Do start off with the easy games, obviously. Just basic handling skills. Try and not coach the lesser player too much yourself. Get them to sort of learn it from just watching and observing other players. Because obviously, if you coach too much, then their head will get filled with too many different things. They hear one thing from a player, a different thing from a coach, and it gets flooded, and they probably won't enjoy that. But the main thing with that is getting him to come back and keep on trying. So you obviously can't beast him if you've got a great player who you know you can push a lot compared to a lesser player. You obviously got to go with the lesser player to bring him back, to keep on trying. But that is a very tricky question, but I don't really know how else I can answer it.
Yeah, and that's fine. And like I said, I don't know how the academies and stuff over there work, but
yeah,
over here, we have those issues, especially in the female space.
Yeah.
Like if you're coaching a women's team, you've often got, potentially elite players turning up and then women that have never played before. So you've got to try and get the balance right. But yeah, there's all different. There's a few different theories around it, so it's just good to put some ideas out there for people to think about, and that's that's sort of what this is about. Just putting some ideas out there. What about feedback for your players? What's your theory around feedback? Because there's heaps of different theories on it, and
I go so in depth with it. So as I said, with our first club match a couple of weeks ago, we had 19 players play, and in the afternoon of that match, of that day that we had the match, I literally spent, I think, 3 hours on my laptop just typing up paragraphs for every single player that played. And towards the end, when it got to the subs, or impact players, as I call them, not subs, as soon as I got to the impact players, like when they only had 25 minutes compared to the other boys who had 65 or whatever, it was quite hard, and I got quite bored of it. But that first 15, typing up for them, I absolutely loved it. Just writing everything rugby, which was brilliant. But yeah, that took 3 hours. Obviously, got to have a lot of determination for that. And it was a Sunday, so I had a bit of time in my hands. But yeah, I go not way too in depth, but I go very in depth. And if you want to read it, you read it. But yeah, but I do also love with school, schoolboys, I just use videos all the time because they don't read that. They're not that interested in rugby. They just want to play it, and they're not too. Most of them aren't too bothered about that sort of like written feedback. So I just get loads of little like under 5 minute videos off YouTube, how to improve, different things they can try out. Sent a whole page of links from 1 to 15, different videos for different positions. So props, did a video, hooker video, second row, and so on. Then if there's one boy who comes back for feedback, I write loads, put in videos, put in a couple articles, loads of links to stuff. Usually most of my feedback is online, obviously with emails and WhatsApps and stuff like that. Then when it's in person, you've got to just do short and sharp, because either it's during a session or right after a session, just short, sharp little things, because they won't process loads of different things when it's in person. When it's written down, then they can refer back to it. But in person, I'll take like 2 or 3 points from. If someone gives me 10 points, I only take away 2 or 3 in person. So I need to have it written down. Similar to most people, but yeah, I basically what they did well, what they can improve on, and how they can do it. Those sort of 3 things I go through when doing feedback. But
Yeah. What about feedback during a session to a player? Like during a drill or a game at training, how do you stop the drill, or do you just have a chat to them?
Depends if it's obviously if it's something like if it's dangerous or something, you've got to stop and stuff. If it's something like if you're receiving the ball and you haven't got your right foot forwards or the right hand up or something like that, then just pull them aside quickly whilst the others still carry on. Hopefully you'll have another coach with you who can still make sure that the drill carries on. So you can let's call it snipe coaching, where you're kind of like sniping those little individual things that can be picked up quickly. So if you spot someone not doing something right, they can easily be adjusted. Snipe in on them, pull them out quickly. Just adjust your hands and stuff like that, just all that kind of stuff. Then get them involved straight away. One thing I learned pretty early on that I got wrong when I was first involved with Cardiff rugby age grade with Vale of Morgan schools under 15s. I told this quite young prop that his positioning was bad, like just because one of my first experiences in rugby coach, I just told him it was bad. And the head coach came over to me at the end of the session and said, "You can't just tell a young kid that he was bad because he's going to go home and cry about it probably." So that's one thing I took away and will never forget. And I remember a couple of sessions later when doing scrummager again, I said, "What can you improve?" or something along those lines. And I got a bit of respect from the head coach from saying that instead of saying you're bad. But yeah, if it's during a drill, just pull them aside quickly, then get back into it straight away. Only, as I said earlier, only 2 or 3 points, nothing long. So what I said, just won't listen. But yeah, it also depends on the type of player, to be fair.
Yeah, and I've got players that, some like the big carrot and the little stick, and others like the little carrot and a big stick. So you've got to know your players and how they want their feedback to be given, how they're going to take their feedback. Some of them need, put your arm around them and take them out for coffee, and others are just like you can tell them straight to them. So that's so questioning around in training sessions. Do you do a lot of questioning? Do you do group questioning, or again, is it that one-on-one question?
I hardly ever want to tell the team what to do. I always ask questions. Like at the end of every session I've done with my club, I say, "What do we think?" Just trying to get different brains to come, just different things to come out of different people. Something that I'm probably not even thinking about might come up, and then we can go off that as well. But I
Yeah.
always, at the end of every session, I always say, "What do we think?" And after every match and all that kind of stuff, even when I'm training with seniors, when
Yeah.
I'm training myself, if there's an opportunity to say it, I'll say it, and then
Yeah.
different things will come up. But then also, I like if someone is doing something wrong in a drill, I was like, I usually say, how can we change it? What can we change? Why can we change it? When, where, all I hardly ever tell people. I always ask. Um, that's kind of how I coach. Right? I always ask questions, try and get it out the player rather than telling them.
Yeah.
Um, also, it also it makes my life a lot easier, to be fair.
Yeah.
Rather than telling all the boys what to do, just they know it. Just get them out of it just by asking one simple question.
Yeah, that's a good point, mate. They know what they should be doing. Most of the players know what they should be doing, or what we're trying to achieve. But yeah, asking them, and I think as young coaches, I know I was terrible at it. Is being comfortable in the silence after we ask them a question.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Because we know that, I know what I want you to say. So I'm going to ask you a question. If you don't answer me in 2 seconds, I'm going to give you the answer so we can get on with it. So most of the time, my boys used to just stand there and wait for me to answer it, and then they'd run off. And it was like, I'm not actually listening or anything. So now the guys I've got now, they know that I'm quite happy to stand there. I don't care.
yeah.
So, but yeah, it can get quite uncomfortable to the players. I think getting the players in the habit of answering the questions.
Oh,
as well,
100%.
and not just
From a
for me, you go, oh, what can we improve in that drill? And the first thing that comes back, oh, our comms. No, go away. Think of something else.
yeah,
Or what
yeah,
do you mean? What do you mean by comms? Oh,
yeah,
my boys don't say comms anymore. It's all
yeah.
or
I've heard about that.
if it is comms, it's my communication to the guy outside me was poor. Cool, that's what I want.
Yeah,
That
I'm,
type of stuff.
listening to you with that on that podcast with Merlin, you talking about comms for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take that away with me. But from a completely different point of view about asking a question as a coach, when I first started out, sometimes I wouldn't know what to say. I knew I wanted to say something, but I didn't want to say anything that was just a little passover comment. So sometimes I would just say, I would ask a question, even if I didn't know the answer, to see if the other boys would just bring something out and trigger something in my brain.
Yeah.
To see if I can actually say something else on top of that. That's something that I use like starting out, and sometimes I still use now. If I'm in a situation where I don't want to look stupid by saying something, sometimes I just ask a question out there, and then something else will come on top of that. So I hope that will help some other people who are in a sort of similar situation where they're in a very good environment but don't want to look stupid. Ask a simple question to everyone, and then go off.
Yeah, and sometimes it's what do you reckon we can do to make that drill better?
Yeah, something simple like that.
Something simple like that, and then someone will have an answer, and then you can dig into that, or that might be all you're after, and stuff like that. Yeah, and get the players in the habit of knowing that I'm going to ask you a question. Sometimes I will ask as a group, or sometimes I will go, Tom, what do you think about this? So they don't know whether they're going to get I can stand here and say nothing, or I'm actually going to pinpoint people. And so just some guys are just really shy, and that's fine as well. So
yeah.
So what would a normal training session for you look like around skills and transitioning those skills into what resembles a game of rugby?
Well, there's that classic coaching technique, the whole part whole thing where you start off in a game-based situation. So you've got a scrum on the 22, you're down by 2 points. You got 2 minutes left in the match. What do you do? Start off with that for 5 minutes, redo it a couple of times, see what the players do. Then can break it down. Different situations, so different backs moves, different moves off the scrum, drop kicking drills, and then go back into it again, back into that game situation after 10, 15 minutes or something like that, depending on what type of players you have, what type of boys that you have, whether they pick it up quickly or they need a bit more time. So yeah, there is that classic sort of way of doing it, but I usually start off with skill-based drills, and then towards the end of the session, I make it more game-based. So when they finish the session, they come away like feeling happy that they've just, because obviously everyone wants to just jump straight into the game rather than doing boring drills and stuff. But you can obviously you make drills fun by doing different types of things with it. But if they finish the session with a high on a high with a good game, then they'll definitely come back next time.
Yeah.
And that's one of the main aims of being a rugby coach, get them to come back. But also try, and if you do all those skill-based drills during the start of the session, hopefully during that game, at the end they'll use those different things in that game. It might not be relevant to the actual situation, but it means they can try it out there. And yeah, different things like that, really.
Yeah. And what about errors during training? When you're in those different block, like the skill block and then the game block, or whatever terminology coaches use, what's your thoughts on players making errors during the session?
Unless if they're absolutely stupid and it's not worth doing, then obviously I love errors. I love it when people try different things. But unless if there's a prop trying to drop kick from halfway or something like that, then just get on with your normal job, you idiot. But yeah, but yeah, no, I love it when like the wingers try out the back passes and stuff, and little grubbers here and there. People, like different people trying grubbers. Obviously, you want every single player on the pitch to be this whole complete rugby player. So I like it when you see like a back row before the start of the session kicking towards goal, trying to develop that part of the game. Because you never know when you might need a back row to kick for goal. But yeah, I do enjoy seeing little things being tried in sessions. But yeah, I'm in favour of it. I used to do it at school when I was training. I used to try different things. Sometimes coaches hated it, sometimes they liked it. But training is a place to try things out, rather try on a training pitch than a match pitch. But yeah, so yeah, I'm in favour of it.
Yeah, no, that's good, mate. And thankfully, when I started coaching and the way I was coached was you didn't make errors at training. And even now, if I run a catch pass drill or a tackle drill and that looks so perfect, it means it's not hard enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like coaches go, oh yeah, that drill looks really good. And you go, yeah, the boys aren't. They're not working hard enough, or they're not improving because they're not making errors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does depend what type of situation you're in. To be fair, so if you just come back off a really big loss where the boys just weren't trying hard enough, or something annoying like that, and then you come into a session where they're just messing about, really not taking it seriously and making errors through that way, then obviously you don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
But
yeah, for sure.
It depends on loads of different things, but usually I'm in favour of what's good, because as you just said, it means they're working hard and they're probably tired, and that's where mistakes are going to come from.
Yeah.
Which is good in the end, like in the ultimate end of things. But yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point you made there. It's about the effort that's getting put in and the are we still playing to the standard we want to play to, even though we're making those errors, rather than they're just there and they're just mucking around. But yeah, that's a totally different scenario. Then the guys are dropping the ball because they're fatigued. Okay, cool. We're playing, 1v4. That so you're going to make mistakes, and so depending. But as long as they're putting that effort in and actually giving it a crack, I'm quite happy with errors.
Yeah, what I was saying.
Yeah, cool. And we briefly touched on this before, and this will be the last bit so that you can head off and do what you need to do. Coach development. What do you do? And I'm not. I talk about coach development different to coach education, because coach education is, you go off and you sit in the classroom and you get your level 1, level 2, level whatever level that you're at.
Yeah.
But it's what you do away from that to develop yourself as a coach. What's the stuff that you look at to do?
Well, looking back at that, just that coach education bit. On Friday, I went to an RFU CPD course, a scrummaging course. Because my ex rugby coach from uni is now coach educator, Jack Bairstow. He's pretty good lad. And I was going there to support him really, and also just to get something on my online profile. And I turned up, thought I'd learn something from it. Didn't learn anything. I knew everything that was already on the course, and I didn't need to be there. But saying that, there was seven or eight other people who were there to learn, and most of them were 2 or 3 times my age. And a lot of the times I felt like I was teaching them, which felt amazing, because being 21 and teaching people who are 40, 50, 60, it felt so good. So that sort of development, obviously I was there to be educated, but I was developing myself a lot, weirdly, without having an aim to. But that was amazing. And yeah, knowing that I helped them throughout my different experiences and stuff, it was a great feeling. But in terms of other development, I was chatting to a guy called Gareth Rise, who's in the Ealing Trailfinders, part of the academy, I think the academy manager. I had a chat with him during the summer, and he said he spent, I think, was it a week or maybe even a day in a kitchen with a Michelin star chef, just observing how he leads and organizes his team, just being in that different environment. Obviously, you can go up to Eddie Jones and see how he leads a training session and stuff, but being in that complete different environment, learning how a head chef does it in a great restaurant, and obviously it's so different, but you still see those kind of similar leadership traits, but in a complete different environment, which is something that I'm looking to do at some point very soon. Just go in a completely different environment, and just learn off a leader there. But I think that's one of the best ways to develop yourself. Chuck yourself in at the deep end, not know what is going to happen, then see what you take out at the end. Because what else is better than doing that?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. As I said, I'm looking to find something that I've never ever done before, with someone who's amazing at their job or hobby or whatever they're doing, and learn off them through that. It might take a day, it might take months, it might take a year, but I'll be well up for it. And from what Gareth said, it's probably one of the best things that you could do. But yeah, I'm always looking to do that. Like as I went to Brunel last night, I'm always looking to get into different environments, learning off different people. I mean, I'm currently looking for a mentor for my RFU level 3 for next year. And I know so many people that can do it, people I know well who could do it and who I'd like to do it, but I want someone who I don't know at all, who can give me complete different perspective of everything. Sorry. But yeah, I think that sort of development, that's how to do it. Just chuck yourself in at the deep end.
Yeah. Interesting. I've had a few coaches say that they just go and look at other sports or other things and just, you know, pick people's brains about, because it's not about the tactical and technical stuff. It's a bit, like I said, it's about the management side of it, and how do they look after their players or their staff, and how do they deal with this, and so that's really interesting, mate.
Yeah, I mean, obviously AFL is obviously quite a big thing in Australia. That's something that I'd love to be involved in terms of like being in that sort of environment and learning off a leader and that. So I don't know a lot about AFL. I like the idea of it, and I've seen all the massive hits on YouTube and the highlight reels and stuff, and it looks pretty cool. Done a bit of it in training, but yeah, so something like that would be great to do. But yeah.
No, that's some good advice there, mate. Really enjoy it, mate. Thank you so much for your time. I know it's late over there.
Yeah, enjoyed it.
It's late for you over there. So, mate, like I said, I've got some notes here, and I think the listeners will take a few things away from our discussion. But yeah, thanks, Tom. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'll let you know when this goes out.
Yeah, that'll be really good. Thank you very much. I've enjoyed it.
No worries.
Been good.
Move off their own ball. That is monstrous.
Being held at the back by the foot of Ben Norman, kept in, and England marching it on, whirling it